Hello, Mavic traders, and welcome out to your daily currency recap. This is Sanket here, and let's break down today's market price action. It's a Tuesday, August the 27th. Let's get into it. As always, we'll be breaking down today's market price action by taking a look at broader markets. Then we'll take a look at currency baskets and any major news events, and then we'll take a look at some possible setups ahead. Let's get into it.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional stock and option traders. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
As we jump into the market analysis, let's just jump right into the news of the day. And what we are seeing here is that the equity markets, they're consolidating around that resistance level. So we have, made a big recovery, got up to that July highs, and we just kind of making it a bit of a consolidation pattern here. So it's not really ready to pull back yet. It's just in a holding pattern. And we are seeing a similar sort of price action in the US dollar. It continues to weaken. And I know I had a lot of emails about dollar and, it's sitting in that oversold territory. So we'll take a look at the charts. We'll look at some historical data and see what we can expect. But overall, nothing really has changed in the markets. Now, let's just take a look at the numbers here. So what we are seeing here is pretty much a continuation. We are seeing the Kiwi and continues to outperform. And here we are, another 0.45%. Swiss franc continues to be an outperformer. We talked about British pound being an outperformer. So really everything kind of in the same line here. Here we are with dollar being down 0.42. Remember, dollar is extending its slide after having the biggest down week that we had going back since last year. So again, really oversold territory, but really no relief rally or any signs of relief here. So we're just going to continue watching the dollar, especially if it really start to make a turnaround here. Outside of that, the Japanese yen staying flat. So remember, this is really more about the dollar weakness versus the Japanese yen strength. Now, if you take a look at the price action in the broader markets, what are we seeing here? S&P slightly up, world market slightly up. So we're just seeing that the markets seem to be tired a little bit here. Gold, which again is doing really well. Just taking a little pause here. We got a pull back in the oil after having a big day yesterday. So just going back and forth here. And then cryptos, they continue to underperform here. So this is, again, one of the things where the market had a big recovery. Crypto hasn't had that big recovery. So don't really love the crypto here until we can really get that recovery reversals there. Now we just take a look at it. You can see that the Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, Ethereum down the worst today. So not really loving the price action. This is a market environment where crypto should have done well, but it's not. I think this is where, if you look at gold, that's where money's going. Gold is up quite handsomely this year. If you take a look at the last few years, gold has been stuck in that range. It's breaking out. So that's really where the money's going. It's not really going in the crypto as much. Now, if you take a look at our outlook here, has anything changed? We are above the 20. We are above the 50. The moving averages hasn't started sloping yet, but if we do get a breakout, that's where we'll see a pickup of that. So we are still at a +2 here, and I'm just going to highlight the area here. This is where we were before. This is where we are now. And usually when we stall around this area, this is where, either we pull back pretty quickly or we just hold on to it. And this is what we call that cup and handle sort of price action where it just hits that level, stays there, and then still break out. So at this point, market's narrative hasn't changed. Market remains bullish. It just a little bit tired. So it's just consolidating here. But until we break out, this is where we get a confirmation of bullishness. If it does break lower, then you know that, okay, the momentum is over. But right now, momentum is there. It's just the velocity is not there to move it higher. Now, if we take a look at outside of that, let's take a look at the weekly calendar here. This week is light on calendar, but we still have some data, but that's coming out later in the second half of the week. We had the consumer confidence today out of the US. Really no change. And market did not move at all off of that, even though it was a slightly better number. We take a look at tonight. We have the inflation number coming out of Australia. Remember, Australia is kind of doing a holding pattern as well. It's underperforming the Kiwi, but it's holding pattern here. So it really comes down to if this comes out way below expectation, we could see Aussie pull back further. If this comes out better than expectation, we could see the Aussie sort of strengthen, especially if you take a look at against the Kiwi. Aussie's underperforming. So we could see either or, depending on what the number comes out. And if the number comes out as expected, I don't really expect a whole lot of change out of this. Now, going into Thursday and Friday, we could see some movements off this preliminary GDP report. And then we have some PCE price index out of US on Friday. So there's some news on Thursday and Friday. I don't see a whole lot until tonight and tomorrow, other than the Aussie CPI that you got to watch out for. So let's just jump into our currency analysis and let's just take a look at where the velocity scores are and take a look at the setups. Now, if you take a look at the velocity scores, you can see that things kind of getting in the middle here. So the only thing that's really looking good here is the dollar, which I know it's a bit of a tough trade. If you are trying to get in now, these are always a tough one where they are in the later stages. But outside of that, take a look at it. The yen is not doing much. CAD, pound is still showing strong. So where the outperformance is, it has continued to outperform pound, Kiwi, and even Swiss franc. Now on the underperforming side, we have the dollar, and here we are euro and the Aussie kind of seeing sort of relative weak as well. So really, no change as we take a look at the scoring from last week. Now, let's just take a look at some possible setups.
Do you want to be a professional trader? Maverick Currencies is the oldest US-based Forex and crypto prop trading company that will pay you for trading with our capital. Trade our capital and keep 70 to 80% of the profits. We are looking for traders just like you that are hardworking and motivated. Click the apply link on the top right of this video to see if you have what it takes. That link takes you to a 4-minute video that explains the trader position available, and you read a list of FAQs that answer pretty much all the basic questions you have at this point. After watching the video and reading the FAQs, if you're interested, fill out an application, then you'll watch the full-length recruiting video and then schedule an interview with one of our traders. Are you our next trader?
As we jump into the possible setups, let's just take a look at the dollar here, because really that's the big sort of a trade that's taking place. Now you can see that dollar is at these extreme levels. If you can take a look at the RSI here, they are at the oversold levels. This is the daily chart. You can see this is looking pretty weak. And now if you just zoom out, you can see that around the support area is where we could see some sort of relief rally. But now at this point is no indication for a relief rally. So sometimes the oversold can stay oversold. You just need to wait for things to recover. But should you jump on new trades here on the dollar short? Just realize that it's getting towards this important level of support. And we are pretty much at the same level. I mean, this price action kind of reminds me how we were back in December. You can see that big turnaround here in November, December. And you can see there, things just stayed weak and weak. And then beginning of the year, we just start to pull up. So that's really where we are. We are back at those levels. We could still see a bit of a downside here towards this level, but I think this is an important level of support. So you are looking for dollar continuation on the downside. Just realize that you have to kind of watch out for the support level, and that's really where maybe profit taking come in as well. But as far as any other time frame goes and price action goes, yes, everything looks bearish. I mean, we consolidated for a while here, and then here we are breaking lower. So really, no signs of relief yet. So for our chart, you can see that this just broke lower as well. It's just telling me that it still hasn't capitulated yet. It hasn't really bottomed out yet. I think there's still a bit more downside, and then eventually we'll see a recovery here. So that trade continues on as we get closer to that support level here. So question is, what looks the best here? Let's just take a look at the other currency baskets, because I think they're very important too. Take a look at Japanese yen. A lot of questions on this, but take a look at it. The yen basket, it's just going sideways. So I know if you take a look at dollar yen, you say that, okay, well, it looks like, the yen is moving, but technically it's just the dollar that's moving. Dollar yen, you can see that it's right at the support. It looks like it wants to break lower, but that is the dollar trade, not the yen trade. I think if you take a look at all the dollar crosses, they all will look like they're sitting at the highs or the lows. So it's a dollar trade than the yen trade. I don't love the yen right now just for the fact that it's staying sideways. It's just not moving out in a very tight range. So until it's really ready to move out, I don't want to jump on this one here. If you take a look at the other ones, I mean, euro is underperforming right at the support. Pound still looks good, making on a recovery here. CAD again staying sideways. So again, nothing really has changed, which will make you jump on a trade. The only thing that's jumping on the trade is just the Kiwi long here. You can see that this thing consistently performing well here. Aussie on the counterpart is not. So going to this week, I had a couple of trades that I was watching that's taking me away from the dollar trades. And so the first one is the Aussie Kiwi. You can see that this thing is looking beautiful here, right at the support here. And look at the candle. We're sitting at the support area. I think this has further downside risk as well, getting towards that 107.50 area. So a notable weakness there. Now, if you take a look at the euro against the pound, you'll notice that euro is underperforming the pound. So here we are, we're getting back towards that support area. So I think there's furthermore weakness in the euro against the pound, and then they will kind of hit some support level. So all the other currency pairs, let's just take a look at. We looked at dollar yen, but if you take a look at Kiwi dollar, they all look very similar. So it really depends on, again, you can see that this is a nice little bullish setup here. We consolidated and we're breaking out. And, you always want to figure out, okay, where am I getting in and where do I want to place my stops? So just because we are at these oversold and overbought levels, this is where you want to be using or moving your stop quickly, just in case if the momentum turns around. But for now, as far as the price action goes, this looks like it wants to continue running higher. On the dollar, Kiwi dollar, the next level of resistance is about 63.50. So there's still upside potential there. If you take a look at other ones, I mean, they all kind of look the same. I know. Take a look at how dollar CAD from a high to the low. I mean, these are extreme levels that we're getting here. Extreme reading in a very short period of time. I personally don't love this kind of price action whenever I'm looking for new trades because the big moves already happened. This is the tail end of it before it turns around. So the question is, where should I wait or should I continue plugging along? And I think that's the big question here. So if the dollar turns around, we will probably see some sort of shuffling happening here. But until then, I don't really love the yen crosses. Swiss franc crosses still looks the best here. Let me take a look at 4-hour chart. This thing is right up at the resistance. So perhaps you can take a look at some of the Swiss franc crosses. But again, what would you pair it with? And I think so far, euro against the Swiss franc has been working out really well. That's where the relative strength of weakness is. But outside of that, do I want to pair against something else? Well, the only thing that we can take a look at is dollar Swiss franc, and same thing. It's just sitting at these oversold levels. Let's go on a daily chart and see where we are at. On a daily chart, you can see that it had a rally, and then we are back at these oversold levels. And remember, at the oversold levels, we can still push it down before we make a big reversal here. But that's really where we are at. So consolidation pattern in the markets across the board. Again, looking for the next catalyst. And, there's news on Thursday and Friday that probably propel us higher. But till then, we might just drift sideways, maybe not make a big leap forward or big leap downward. Dollar, I know it's in the oversold territory. There's no sign of relief. If you are, whatever time frame you're using and you're following the momentum, just make sure you have your stops in place just in case when the momentum shifts and you're out of it sooner than later. Play relative strength weakness, and as we're getting towards the end of the month, it's okay to take a break. If you're not getting great opportunities, it's okay to take a break because as we go into after the Labor Day, we'll have the volatility return to the markets, and we'll have a lot more opportunities there. So till then, take care, happy trading, and see you in the next one.